I look forward to continue working on behalf of the citizens of the District of Columbia, making sure that we rid ourselves of government fraud, waste, and abuse, and provide a better quality of life for the citizens of the District of Columbia. Thank you.
Thank you. Spittle.
Thank you. My name is Sid Kubil. I'm glad to be here this evening. Like so many of you, I'm a Washingtonian who is dedicated to the city and loves the city a great deal. And like many of you, I'm extremely frustrated with what has been going on in the city recently. I'm here because a career in public service over the better part of the last 2 decades has convinced me that when dedicated, intelligent, hardworking people apply their skills to problems, we can solve the issues that many of our residents face. And quite frankly, we need to hold our city government accountable to making sure that we're addressing the needs of the people, the residents every single day, and improving the quality of life that so many residents desperately need to have. I've seen a lot of the ups and the downs. I'm fortunate to have had some great opportunities in the city, and I want to work tirelessly for the residents to make sure that every single resident in the city has great opportunities for themselves as well. I look forward to answering your questions.
Thank you. Mr. Shapiro.
Good evening. Our city's at a crossroads. We have a lot to be proud of, but we've been embarrassed and damaged by the actions of some of our highest elected leaders. The council is paralyzed by the corruption and the self-dealing. And until we fix that problem, until we fix the council, we're never going to get back to the real task of growing jobs, of improving education, of creating opportunity for everyone in the city. I'm running because I have the leadership skills and the experience to forge a more progressive and ethically oriented vision for the city. The city deserves public leaders who serve the public and not themselves. As the only candidate in the race who can show you a proven record of integrity and effective leadership, I'm not afraid to stand up for what's right and to speak out against what's wrong. On the council, I'll work for more and better jobs, a school system that serves all the DC kids and parents, and will work neighborhood by neighborhood for the highest quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, this is the first question. We'll go to Mr. Biddle for 1 minute. Are the existing programs to protect and expand affordable housing options in the district working as intended? If not, what can be done to improve them?
Yeah, so it's clear that they're not. I've spent a lot of time talking to residents over the last several months, and there are a number of issues. One, you have hardworking people every day who are earning a wage, is barely keeping them afloat, who desperately want to find stable housing in the city and cannot. But you also have residents who've lived in the city for a long time, who've inherited homes from family members, who find themselves looking at the possibility they would no longer be able to afford the home that their parents handed down to them. So it's clear that we're not focused on the right set of strategies that are going to get us there. We have to, one, address how our property taxes are hurting long-term residents who desperately want to stay in their homes, but also how we create a stock of affordable housing across the city, not segregated to particular wards or neighborhoods, but across the entire city, that provides real opportunities for working residents to have affordable housing.
Mr. Orange?
Well, absolutely, we have gotten off track. The plan that DC has been working on is called the Economic Resurgence of Washington, D.C. Citizens Plan for Prosperity. That was the plan that took us from a $518 million deficit in 1999 and took us to a $1.6 billion surplus in 2006. And the plan called for 55,000 units of affordable housing, of which 19,000 would be apartments. And once that money was secured and we were funding the Housing Production Trust Fund, under the Fenty administration, the plan was not executed. We did not continue to do all the things that the action items call for. So we need to get back on track. The fact of the matter is, yesterday it was reported we had a $240 million surplus. Our fund balance has gone from $890 million back up to $1.1 billion. So there is no excuse for us not to move forward and build 55,000 affordable housing units, of which 19,000 will be apartments.
Thank you. Mr. Shapiro.
Thank you. I agree with that. We need to stick to the plan or get back on the plan. We have to fully fund the Housing Production Trust Fund. We have to make sure that we have support, that shelters and permanent supportive housing are first order priorities. It's just absolutely critical. These are safety net issues for people.
Second question, and this will be 30-second answer. Go first to Mr. Orange. A ballot initiative banning corporate political contributions has been proposed for November. First, do you generally support this proposal? And second, ballot initiatives passed by voters have been overturned by the council before. If elected, do you pledge to respect the will of the people if the proposal passes?
I think that the proposal on the table is more self-serving than really being something that's comprehensive. I think if there's no problem with banning corporate contributions, but I think at the same time you should ban outside employment by DC council members. On the one hand, you say let's stop the contributions from coming in from corporations, but you allow council members to be on their payrolls and make an additional $250,000 plus the $125,000 that's made as a council member. So I think that this is more of a self-serving attention getter. If you really want to be real, let's go the full way and support not only just banning contributions, but outside employment by DC council members.
Mr. Shapiro?
Yes, we should ban corporate contributions. Our system is it's riddled with problems, and so many of the problems have to do with where the funding comes from for campaigns. So I support the initiative, and it's something that the council could and should do as well. I think it's the next step that really would help change the way we do campaigning, which would be some measure of public financing of campaigns.
Mr. Biddle?
Yeah, so obviously I've spoken in support of this initiative. I think that the tragedy here is that the council has failed to step forward and enact a set of reforms that would actually create the public trust that this initiative seeks to create. Now, part of that's also a legacy of the lack of ethics this council's had historically. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, the residents have voted for initiatives that the council has then turned around and overturned. Now, it is duplicitous to sit here and suggest that we as candidates look for the public's will in their vote when they vote for us, but not when they vote for other items.
Okay, thank you very much. Another 30-second question, and take you probably about 5 seconds to answer this question. Please tell us the year, make, and model of your car, if you have one. Mr. Orange?
I have a 2008 SRX, and it's American made.
Can I ask what an SRX is?
Yes, it's a Cadillac station wagon, as we call it.
Mr. Shapiro?
I've got two vehicles, if I can say. So one is a 2007 Honda Accord that's a little bit on the beat up side, but it works fine. And the other one is a 2004 scooter. It's a Vespa, a little a Vespa ET4, which I'll take out even in cold weather.
Mr. Biddle?
So I'm going to have to phrase my response conditionally, because I dropped off my 2001 Volkswagen Passat station wagon, which is great for transporting dogs and kids, which has been the high priority of my transportation need. But I dropped at the dealership only to find that the transmission is shot. So it's entirely possible that I may fall into the category of no longer owning a car sometimes. So that's the upside of having a bike and having a smart card. So such is life.
Okay, next question. The CFO has projected a deficit of $46.4 million for fiscal year 2013. How specifically would you recommend closing that gap fairly? Mr. Shapiro?
We can't even consider what we need to cut until we consider ways to bring in new revenue as well. So it's just got to be a combination of both. And that means everybody does their fair share. We'll have to look at the specifics of the budget when the time comes. But it's not just, we can't just find the resources based upon waste, fraud, and abuse. It's a lot more complicated than that. Of course, there's all sorts of ways in which we need more accountability to make sure that we're spending our funds more effectively. But again, you put revenue sources on the table as well, and it's the only way to balance a deficit of that size.
Mr. Biddle?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously challenging to take seriously projection of deficits given what's been going on with the city's budget in the last couple of years. When we project deficits and then we find surpluses, I think the most important thing we need to do is look critically at where we're not getting our bang for our buck. We've seen recent news stories about job training programs, which we're paying twice what Maryland and Virginia are paying for the same outcome. I mean, there's clearly opportunities for us to recoup dollars there. And the reason I identified job training is because if we really want to grow revenue, the way we do that is by getting residents back to work. And that's going to increase our revenue stream without us figuring out ways to squeeze people business any harder.
Mr. Orange?
Yes, once again, we have balanced our budget for 15 consecutive years. We will balance our budget in 2013. Those are just the gimmicks of the CFO. What we need to do is make sure that the DC dollar circulates in DC. The short time that I've been back on the council, I've held a hearing and ascertained that this government has shortchanged our business community to the tune of $400 million in the year 2011 and shortchanged us $180 million for fiscal year 2010. The law indicates that every agency head must spend at least 50% of their expendable budgets with CBEs, Certified Business Enterprises. If you spend your dollars with your local businesses, that gives them the opportunity to hire people, and the dollar circulates in the District of Columbia. If I was to give you a $10 million contract and you're located in the District of Columbia, we're going to reap taxes back from you. If everybody that's here in this room tonight were DC employees, we get employment taxes back. So that's how you build a community, by circulating your dollar in your community. This government spends too much time providing contracts to folks that live outside the city.